Hey, it's the Right Rican, and today I'd like to welcome on the podcast Pedro Feliciano he hosts the podcast Conservatish, and here in the background I'm actually playing one of his songs as he's also a singer songwriter. And let me pause that, but I just wanted to put a little salsa to the show.
A little sazon.
Yep. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I was curious. I wanted to know, so what made you come up with the whole moniker of Conservatish? Because I love it. When I found it,
thank you very much. Well, first things first, I'm incredibly smart. So it was just God, the spirit, the energy, my amazingness, whatever you want to call it. Just, I was inspired. No, I wanted to, so I had been, let's see. So I'm a singer, like you said, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been performing in the Bay Area for years. And also, I think one of the things that really helped me was that I was writing hooks for rappers around the country and especially the Bay Area for a number of years. And so I was attached to the hip hop genre, and I would go to hip hop shows and I would support them, and I would, sing the hooks that I had written and blah, blah, blah. And I noticed I was getting annoyed because every single, the politics at the hip hop shows started ramping up, especially after like 2015, 26, it was like, it was getting annoying. And I've always been rebellious, but I always kind of assumed that I was liberal or Democrat or whatever, because up until that point, it had made sense. You know what I mean? Like, abortion and this and that and blah, 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 women's rights, because you get told what that means.
Yeah.
And rather than doing any research into it, you just assume. And then the news that you're told confirms that definition that they already handed you.
Yes.
So I just assumed that I fit into the definition of liberal. I assumed or current day liberal. I assumed. So in 2016, I voted for Bernie, and then I voted for Hillary, begrudgingly. Yes, sir. But I didn't know any better,
Yeah.
And so at the time, then what happened was I had an ex call me the day that Trump won, and she's like, "Oh, we're all gonna die," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't think this is like, I'm pretty sure we're not gonna die. I mean, I didn't vote for the dude, but like, this is not the end of the world. And I was already starting to crack open a little bit. And what happened for me was about a month or two later, everybody's online talking about Milo Yiannopoulos. He's Satan, he's the devil, he's Hitler, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me watch a video.
Yes.
As soon as you watch a video, as soon as you do your own research, it's done. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell into a big old loop of Milo and Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Camille Paglia and Jordan Peterson and all these non leftist thinkers and talkers, and I it opened my world.
Actually,
and I realized
I lived in Texas for a few years. I actually got to see Crowder live on the SMU campus. He is hilarious.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened for me is I was like, okay, since I'm this type of person, and I love communicating and I like whatever, I wanted a place to rant freely. Because in music, if I want to express myself, and I do very, very amazing, like you said, but if I want to express myself, I'm limited to 2 verses and a chorus, and that's about it. So I wanted a place to be able to rant freely, free form, go for it, blah, 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 Joe Rogan-ish type of whatever.
Yeah.
And so coming up with a name, I didn't want it to just be called the Peter Feliciano Podcast, because that's vague. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted it to be, catchy and punchy and say, And so Conservatish was, I think I don't know where it came from, probably God. It just came, and I was like, okay, you know what? That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. And so, and it's similar to one of the things that we've been talking about, and maybe we'll get into it more, but I also wanted to humanize people. And often these days, the people who get the most dehumanized, it's ramping down a little bit. I'm sorry, it's ramping up. The dehumanization of non-leftists is ramping up in emotion, but ramping down in quantity.
Yes.
So less and less people are like into this current day leftism, but those people are now more and more loud, because that's what you have to do. You have to be more and more vitriolic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So But I think this is big tent shit. You know what I mean? This big tent stuff, because the people, like I always say, like one of the things from the pod, lines from my show is like, can't I like gays and guns? Like, why does it have to be 100% over here, 100% over here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I was just watching this morning. I was watching Mark Dice commented on, was it because Dave Rubin is, getting having his own kids with his husband, and he's there like, oh, well, you're conservative. As conservatives, we shouldn't be supporting this. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you know what? That's why people don't like conservatives, because it's let them live their life. You know what?
Yeah.
You don't have to like it, but if, that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be able to have his own kids.
Right.
And I mean, that's where I go, like I said to you earlier, that's why I don't call myself conservative. That's why I call myself libertarian, because I'm like, as a libertarian, I go, hey, you know what? He could afford it. He could pay the lady to have his kids, and then he's good.
Right.
I don't see.
And the bottom line is when it comes to the fight that we've got before us, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all, but I'm saying I'm sorry, and you're going to have to get used to it. This needs to be big tent. This needs to be big tent. Here's the reality. Conservative Christians, listen to me very closely. There's never going to be, remember how we always say leftists, and in the current model of leftism, no one can be leftist enough. Like, no matter what, even if you're full, I mean, they've canceled all kinds of liberals, right? Look at Joe Rogan. Look at Joe Rogan, how they've tried to cancel him, and he's not even right wing. He's super uber liberal. The only thing he disagrees with is on guns. That's it. And free speech. Yeah. Well, free-ish speech. He Joe Rogan should never have apologized for using the N-word. Ever. But regardless. So in current day liberalism, in current day leftism, you cannot be leftist enough. Guess what, conservatives? That same animus, that same evilness that you can never be a part of our tribe enough is in you too. Yes. It's in you too. It's in every single human being. That's why we need to work on ourselves to be aware of our darker selves so that we can protect the movement against people, right? Protect the movement against people and let this be a big tent. Because guess what? Ultimately, as much as you want to say, like, I mean, I can pull out some shit if you really want me to pull out some shit. Let's pull out some shit. Dave Rubin he shouldn't be adopting kids with his husband. It says in the Bible that women shouldn't talk in church. That's not even an Old Testament, bitch. That's a New Testament. Are you allowing women to talk in church? You're not conservative enough. Boom. You're not Jesus-y enough. You want to keep talking? You want to keep pushing this bullshit? Come on. I'll use something else. Conservatives want to like, they want to, kick Brandy Love out of Turning Point USA and, whatever, all that stuff. Which, by the way, people like Turning Point USA, they're not fuckable anyway. Let's be real. Anyway, so they want to kick people out that you're not conservative, you're not this, you're not that, blah, blah, blah. There's a parable that gets thrown around Christian world as well as others. There's a dude on top of a roof in a flood. Okay, the water is rising. He's up on top of his roof and he's going to die. A rowboat comes by. Hey, man, get in. We'll save you. And the guy's like, no. I trust God. God's going to save me. And so he's like, okay. And he rows on by. Water rises more. Now it's at his feet. And then a what's that other type of boat? Not the rowboat, speedboat. A speedboat comes up. Dude, get in. We'll save you. You're going to die. He's like, no. I've been praying. God's going to save me. I've got faith. And they go away. Next, the water's rising. It's all the way up to his chin. He is going to drown. A helicopter comes by, lowers a rope. Dude, grab a hold. We'll save you. No. I've been praying. God's going to save me. Helicopter, okay. Flies off. Water rises all the way. Dude drowns to death. Okay. In heaven. Hey, God, you told me, I prayed. You said you would save me. I knew you would say, I had faith. Where were you? God's like, bitch, I sent you a rowboat, a speedboat, and a helicopter. What? Yep. Guess what? Conservatives, libertarians are your helicopter. Boom. Okay. All these people who are talking about adopting kids, even though Dave Rubin, they're your helicopter. No. It needs to be, I need to, We've got bigger fish to fry. We've got lizards to kill, motherfucker. You can't afford. We can't afford to be squabbling amongst each other about adopting babies. You fucking intellectual child.
No,
Jesus.
I totally agree. I think that's, that's why I go, if you want to, this is the irony. If Republicans want to save their party, they need to be taken over by the libertarians. And I'll say, if you want to look in point, what's destroying the Democratic Party? The takeover of the leftists, like, the Squad, AOC, and Ilhan Omar, and all those people. They're taking over the party. They're the ones. They're the vocal part of the party that's taking it over, and that's what libertarians need to do to Republicans. Except for the fact that when you put a libertarian tent in there, like you're saying, the big tent, they're more welcoming to people because you have left and right libertarians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
you
why
have conservative, you have atheists, whatever. The bottom line, like you're saying, as long as you don't tell me what to do with my body, my mouth, my wallet, and my kids, good. You can be my friend. You can be my friend. You're because we've got, I swear to God, the motherfuckers in power. It's not just the Democrats. It's also the GOP rhino ass, deep-seated, deep state stuff, right? They know that this is not about Democrat and Republican. They know that their job is just to keep their job and get elected again and get all that money and power. If we've got bigger, that's the fish we actually have to fry. And we're not going to do it if we're squabbling amongst ourselves.
No, I agree. I think we need to, and I think we need to get rid of those type of people. We need to get rid of the Mitch McConnells and Lindsey Grahams, because look at this going on with Ukraine. They love the war. They love war, and right now, all of a sudden, I remember when the Democrats were anti-war when Bush was president. Where the hell's the anti-war party now?
Right.
They
voted Trump.
Yeah, they voted Trump, and you got them, shitting on what's this Tulsi Gabbard when she's just anti-war because she's actually in the military.
Right.
She's actually in the military saying, no, I don't want to fight in a war unless
Carlos, believe all women. Well, except for Tulsi, but believe all women. Believe all Leah Thomas.
Oh man, that's some bullshit, man. My niece swims, and my sister, she's all, look, my best friend of 30 years is gay. Okay. So I hang out with gays. Well, before I got married, I used to go to bars with them and all that stuff. Right. I got no problem with gays, with transsexuals and all that stuff. My little sister was just like, oh, well, you voted for Trump, you changed. And she's there talking about the transsexual stuff. So I tell her, so let's put it like this. Our niece, she goes to a swimming competition and she needs to finish in the top 3 to get a scholarship. But she finishes 4th and she loses to 3 trans women. Right. How would you feel? She goes, I'd be mad. Exactly. But if, when you look at it at the abstract and you go, oh no, they should be able to swim. No, why is it you have the other trans swimmer that's female to male? Why doesn't she have to participate in the men's division? Why does she get to participate in the female division? Why? Because she can't compete in the male division. Right. Where this guy went from 456th ranked male in swimming, and now he's the #1 female swimmer in the world. Come on.
And that's an exact example of what they think is they need to do is keep the door so wide open. They need to be so wide open so that no person ever feels bad. This is really what it is. They want to keep the door open, so the intellectual door open so wide that people don't feel bad. Similar to abortion, right? So for me personally, I'm pro-life, but has nothing to do about a woman's body. Like where my standing is, if you wanted to build a separate womb and put that baby in a separate womb, fine, great. It's about the baby's body that's inside your fucking body. It has nothing to do with your body, right? Now, in extension of that, the pro-choicers sometimes, many times, want to keep the door so wide open for 2-week abortion, or for 1 month abortion, that they say that even a baby at 9 months you can kill. They don't even agree with that, but they don't want to hurt motherfuckers. They don't want to seem, it's complicated, but ultimately the very hard line. The hard line is what's making the majority, and I know I'm sounding crazy right now, but listen up. The majority of liberals are reasonable and smart. Okay, the majority. They're dumb because they're ignorant, they're disconnected from reality, right? But that doesn't mean they're stupid or they hate America or they're unreasonable. They just don't think about politics enough, and they just react because what they're told is Putin's the devil, or Trump's the devil, or white cops are the devil. And so they follow along. But why would I going off on that tangent? I'm just saying that's an example of the same thing happening with conservatives not wanting to be happy about, Dave. And you don't even need to be happy about Dave Rubin and his husband adopting. But if you want to be like, he's not really. First things first, he never said he was conservative. That's number fucking one. Okay. Number two, why do we need to be so tribalism? We can't be tribal. We can't be angry at them for being tribal and unreasonable while we're tribal and unreasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I mean? It's like he was saying, I remember it was Mark Dice, I was watching his video, and he's complaining because he's like, oh, you got PragerU praising him, and you got the Blaze praising him. I'm like, they're friends with him. What do you want them to hate their friend? Then they're not really a friend. I'm like, that to me is, like you said, is the problem you have with the leftists, where it's like, if you're not leftist enough for them, then they want to kick you out. You don't belong in our party because you're too, so that's why I go, like when you were talking about abortion, for me, I go, I look at the Texas bill is one extreme, as the same thing as the New York bill that gives women the right to abort a baby up till birth, which both bills are ridiculous. I think 4 weeks is still too quick for a woman to even know they're pregnant.
I think it's heartbeat.
It's the heart. No, I know it's the heartbeat, but I mean it's like 4 to 6 weeks when you could hear the heartbeat. And I'm pro. In my personal life, for myself, sure. I'm pro-life, but that doesn't mean that I want to put those beliefs on other people.
Right.
So I want to give them a reasonable chance to go, okay, even though at the same time, there's contraceptions up the ass now. Right. You have the morning after pill, you got birth control, you got IUDs, you got condoms. There's so many ways to prevent a pregnancy. There's no excuses now.
Right. I'll add to that. I agree. And it doesn't mean conservative Christians, listen to what we're saying. We're not saying you have to intellectually agree with Dave Rubin. We're not even saying you shouldn't voice your opinion or whatever. Do what you need to do. But what I'm saying is, once you're saying they're part of the enemy, then you're screwed up. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know if I had to only be a part of my tribe, if I only had to let in people into my tribe that I agreed with 90+%, I would have like 2 motherfuckers. I would have like 2 people in my friend group. If I had to agree, I'll even pull it a little closer. Libertarians and people in the middle, or people who are reasonable, what they allowed themselves to vote for a Republican in 2020. They said, you know what, screw it. This guy's closer to what I want versus Joe evil ass lizard Biden, right? So if that's the case, why were the libertarians, as much as they have strong beliefs that they sometimes even want abortion, or why were they mature enough to get over themselves to vote for a Republican, and you aren't mature enough? Why? Because your God's too small. There it is. Your God's too fucking small if you think that he can't handle people disagreeing with you. Okay? Or not even disagreeing with God, disagreeing with what was written by dudes back thousands of years that none of y'all have ever fucking met, that even in that same writing, it says women shouldn't even talk in church. You shouldn't get haircuts.
I go like this.
Be real.
if you want to look at it, we're not supposed to, as Christians aren't supposed to judge people. You're supposed to love them and, leave it for God to judge them. And, that's the way I look at it. I don't, I remember I used to teach Sunday school, and one of the kids came to me and was like, is it wrong to be gay? And I told him, I said, that's a conversation that you have to have with your parents. That's not a conversation for me to have with you, because that is your parents' job to teach their values to you, not me.
Right.
I'm like, if you leave it to me, I go, that's on what, I can't answer it. I don't know. In the Bible, it may say, you're not supposed to lay with a man like you're supposed to with a man. And same thing, you're not supposed to lie with a woman's not supposed to lie with a woman. But who's to say that that's God's word, or that was, man writing it down to put order in society?
Right. And also, I'll take it a step further. Brandy Love getting kicked out of Turning Point USA. I'm not saying that she's Mary Magdalene, but I am saying
you gotta tell me the story, because I don't know about the story, so I haven't heard about that.
So Brandy Love was at Turning Point USA. What was it? A year ago? 9 months ago? She was at a conference there. Turning Point USA is the Charlie Kirk motherfucker.
No, I know Turning Point USA.
And so she was at the conference, and they asked her to leave because she's a porn star.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Right.
I did hear. Okay, now that you said that, I remember. I thought that was bullshit.
Yeah. Now bring it a step further, everybody. Well, she hasn't. She's still sinning. Okay. Did Jesus die on the cross for your sin? If Jesus died on the cross for your sins, does that mean that you need to be perfect from here on out? Is that what that is? Does it say anywhere in the motherfucking Bible that, okay, Jesus died for your sins previous to when you accepted him, and then after that you're on your own? Now it turns into an earning God's grace motherfucking thing? Is that what that is? Because I haven't seen that, and I don't know no Christians who are perfect. It says that over and over. Okay, so this is complicated. This is nuanced, and God made us. He knows what he's dealing with. Okay, if you want to come from the perspective of that's why he sent Jesus to do that, great, rock and roll. But you can't then turn around and say, okay, Jesus hung out with Mary Magdalene, but Jesus hung out with her before he fucking sacrificed himself on the fucking cross. Okay, before God sacrificed him. So why was he hanging out with her then? Is it works based or is it grace based, bitch? You gotta pick a fucking side. You can't be like, oh, it's grace based, and then treat people like shit who don't follow through with your intellectual definition of what grace should be.
You know what's funny is that Mary Magdalene wasn't the worst people that they considered him hanging out with. It's actually the tax collectors. Those were the ones that they hated the most, which is kind of funny. Those were the ones that they thought were the worst sinners, were the tax collectors, because they were collaborating with the Romans.
Right.
So, I don't know why I brought that up, other than with the tax, because I hate taxes. So,
right. And when it comes to as well, where it says like you are lukewarm and I want to spit you out of my mouth. Your definition, Christian conservatives, or current ones who are mad at Dave Rubin anyway, which I believe is probably the minority. I
believe it's the minority too.
It's the minority of Christian conservatives. Christian conservatives, their current definition of what lukewarm Christian means. I don't read anywhere in the Bible, okay, especially in the New Testament, where it says, okay, you're lukewarm because you're not principled enough. Like in this, ultimately, it's either up to God or not. And the thing about the heretics or Pharisees, the thing about the Pharisees is that they spoke as if they were speaking for God. So you want to keep talking shit? Because he turned over some motherfucking tables up in that bitch. He talked some mad shit about the Pharisees.
Yeah.
So do you want to keep like, no, God wouldn't want, if you're really going by the word alone, God also doesn't want women to talk in church. So why are you allowing women to talk in church? Stop changing the fucking subject. If we're going word by word of the Bible, that this is the exact immutable, not complicated and nuanced word of God, why are you allowing women to talk in church? And I'll bring it a step further. If you are allowing women to talk in church, maybe you won't get into heaven. Is that right? You can't be a part of the tribe. Where are you going to draw the line? You're drawing the line, not God. Okay. Big Ten shit means we've got lizards to take down. And I don't mean literally, but we've got these entrenched deep state creepy fucks that we've got to take down, and we have to work together in order to get there. Once we get to the other side, fine. Be all Jesus told me in my sleep. Be all, do it.
But that's why you have. But that's why you have church. But that's what you have church for. You want to put those divisions in yourself. That's why you have communities. That's why you have church. But we're not talking about churches. We're talking about the government. We're talking about we got bigger fish to fry than worrying about whose Christianity is right. We got to fix the fact that you got people here that like we talked about abortion. People who want to allow you to do an abortion up to birth, which is ridiculous. Right. You got people who want to say a mental illness, because gender dysphoria used to be a mental illness. And, people want to say a man is a woman because he says he's a woman.
Right.
And I go, if you're my friend and, you want to transition, that's fine, especially as an adult. The biggest problem I have with this whole transgender craze is with the children, right? Because you're just confusing the fuck out of children. Right. Children are already confused. When they hit puberty, we get confused with our bodies. And then all you're doing is throwing in more confusion with them. Right. And all you're doing is hurting more people this way. That's why I go, leave the children alone. Right. Leave it up to when you're 18 and you want to make your choice as an adult, you make that choice. But as a child, no, I'm not gonna chemically castrate you so like that you can't have children. I mean, you have, what is it? Blair White, right? Mm-hmm. So, when I forgot what she was gonna do, but then she froze sperm. So like that, if she want to have kids later on, she can. Because whatever, I forgot what therapy she was gonna do that was gonna just basically, make her infertile. Right. So, I respect the fact that, she did whatever she wants. And I say she because, look, listen, if you look at Blair, anyone who doesn't look at Blair White, if you walk by the street, you would think she's a woman. I swear to you. I remember I showed, I was talking to a friend of mine, right? And I go, hey, look at this. He goes, damn, I'd hit it. And I go, that's a transsexual. He goes, no. And I'm like, yeah. Right. I'm like, you never know.
And I think, listen, and yeah, that's absolutely true. But passing is not necessarily the barometer of whether or not I'm going to call a trans woman a woman.
Oh, right? No, I agree.
Whatever. It's as Jordan Peterson put it very, very succinctly, when he was starting to get a lot of press, was because he was against the bill that criminalized the misgendering. So that's where I have a problem. Oh, right? Yeah. That we have to be nice, right? The problem is I hear and see things that, this ties also into the Dave Rubin thing. I hear and see things that offend me, that piss me off, right? But I don't want to stop them. Okay, I've never seen anybody who on this side, as much as we all rag, and I rag on Trevor Noah constantly. He is a vapid, humorless douchebag who used his half blackness to get a job, and he doesn't even know that he did it. That's what's so upsetting. He thinks he's talented. He thinks he's prolific, and a bunch of white liberals in the Upper West Side, a bunch of Jews in the Beverly Hills, give him the cash and give Comedy Central the cash and give them the eyeballs to make people think that we all agree that he's talented and he earned his seat. He did not earn his seat. He's not talented and entertaining enough and funny enough to be where he is, right? But I won't call for him to be taken down. I don't want him to be censored, because the minute I say you should censor, that means that I am now susceptible to that. I call it, and it came from somewhere else that I won't necessarily mention. It's an anonymous program, but principles before personalities. If I believe in the principle of free speech, unless it's somebody that I don't like, then I don't actually believe in the principle.
Yes.
I don't actually want free speech.
It was good. Case in point, like Stephen Colbert, that's another idiot that he thinks he's, he thinks he's so funny because, he used to do the shtick that I'm conservative and what he thought was conservative. And it's like, I think he's stupid. I remember he did those vaccine jokes, and it's like, it's not funny. It's dumb. And but I would never call for those people to be censored. I just go, the ratings will show by itself. That's why, was it Greg Gutfeld just started the night show this year, like earlier last year, and he's killing them in the ratings because all of them do the same shit, and he's doing something different, and people are gonna go. The ratings are gonna show it, and the ratings showing he's doing something different, and he's getting better ratings because he makes jokes too, and people laugh.
And that's capitalism. That's real capitalism, right? Survival of the fittest. As long as that, and I know that is a system, and this is a system, capitalism, that can be absolutely bastardized and perverted and turned into something. It's
I mean, because
right?
We have aspects of capitalism, but we also have, corporatism. That's not, people think that's capitalism, but it's not. Like I got my brother-in-law is a socialist, and he swears he's not. He goes, I'm for the workers. And then what the fuck is socialism?
Right. And socialists these days, they're not for the workers at all. They don't even have jobs. Can we just be real?
They're not even
pink-haired, upper middle class white motherfuckers. Yeah, that's what it is.
He's for the workers, but he was against the truckers in Canada.
Ta-da!
So you're not principled. You're not for the workers. No.
Right.
I called him out for that. He was just like, he didn't know what to say. And I was like, oh, that's the nonsense of what's going on with the leftists. I mean, they're just, I like the way you put it. They're not principled. They're just, and just like some people on the right, they'll, it's more about my tribe than it is about the principle.
Right. What's that? Another example is recently, and I don't know if it was an old story, but I think Kanye shared it or something, that Pete Davidson was in trouble for making jokes about fucking a kid. Here's the deal. I don't like Pete Davidson. I think he is creepy. He very well might be a pedophile. I don't know. He might be a part of the ring, because why else would he have a job? Like, nobody actually really likes him, again, except for the minority of people in the Upper West Side, Jews in Beverly Hills, and that's about it. And Lauren fucking Michaels. That's it. That's why he has his job. That's why so white liberals can go, I like the idea of Pete Davidson. I like the idea of Saturday Night Live, but the ratings don't follow through with that idea, because nature finds a way. We actually want real, even dumb leftist white liberals want real entertainment, right? So, but Pete Davidson was in trouble because he made some jokes, and it was at a comedy club, okay? And a bunch of, not a bunch, but a couple of people on that I follow are like, see what Pete Davidson did? This is horrible. He was in a comedy club during a comedy show. And if you've never done that, shut your mouth. You are unfunny motherfuckers. Here's the other goddamn thing. The principle, if you defended Joe Rogan for saying the N-word in context, you cannot then say you want Pete Davidson taken down for making a joke about fucking a kid. You can't do it. It's not right. Am I saying that Pete Davidson is good? No. Am I saying that he should have said, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I've said some horrible things. I've said some hyperbolic humorist things. I've said some hyperbolic humor things. When you're swinging for the fences and trying to make a group of people laugh, which none of you have ever done very well, then you understand that you have to go with the flow. And in the context of that group, just like the context of Joe Rogan's podcast, the principle is, if you're trying to be funny, you're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
That's
sometimes you could take a joke too far.
Absolutely.
Nobody's saying that you can't take a joke too far, but it's still a joke. You know, I mean, I showed my niece Eddie Murphy Raw. And we're just there going through the show, and I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine someone trying to say that right now? They couldn't get away with it.
And I'm pretty sure that's on Netflix, isn't it? Or
it's on Netflix.
Delirious? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet they take down shows that, you know, they took down the Office episode that had the blackface on it. They took down 30 Rock that had blackface episodes. Well, technically, I guess they took down Mr. Show. Mr. Show had Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, amazing. And they had a revamp of Mr. Show called With Bob and David. And they took down a whole episode. Even though only one skit in that episode had blackface, they took down the whole thing. Guess who was in that skit with David Cross in blackface? Keegan-Michael Key, i.e. Key and Peele, the black guy. Yeah, the black guy was with him, with David Cross. And yet that's not enough. You still had to take down the episode.
Yeah, what if it was, well, I don't know who wrote the scene. What if he wrote the scene and told him to do the blackface?
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Still hurt. It hurt poor Keegan. No, it didn't hurt Michael Keegan. Michael, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't hurt them. And it didn't even hurt. I'll say it again. Joe Rogan, with all the people who got mad about okay, black people are 13. I said it in a tweet. Black people are 13.5% of the American population and 0.0006% of the population of people who want to censor Joe Rogan. I saw some people mad that Joe Rogan said that. I saw some black people mad, but I saw no black people who wanted to have him censored. It's only white motherfuckers. Only white heroes. I'm a hero. I'm a white ally. You're boring. You're boring. Same thing goes, Christian conservatives. You can't get all mad at Pete Davidson now if he was in the context of making a joke.
Yeah.
Stupid ass.
Yeah, like you said, it goes on both sides. I mean, that's the stupidity of what we're going through. But, you think we'd have like some sort of mutually assured destruction where people would go, okay, enough is enough. But it seems like they just want the world to burn. They don't want a middle ground. It's, go to the extremes. That's why, that's why ultimately what you talked about with Conservatish is why we need to get that middle ground. We need to have that big tent because you got these two extreme motherfuckers on both sides that are making it bad for everybody else.
Right. And we're just going to keep spinning and spinning and spinning. And they like it that way. They like it that way because they can then here's the real problem. Why has everybody I've seen online, almost everybody, and maybe it's because I'm in my social media bubble, but why is everybody unhappy with the current thing or certain things, i.e., here's an example, Joe Biden's approval rating is really low. Kamala Harris, really low. Now, and that's even by leftist places, rooters, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're nonpartisan. Lie. So even by their own standards. So obviously it's bigger than that. It's lower than that of people.
Yes.
The problem isn't that. The problem is that there's a disconnect between what we all want and having that actually happen. We can get mad all we want against a politician, right? But they have to, at minimum, they have no consequence unless maybe we can get them impeached, maybe, but that's very rare. And usually it's set up on top of a bunch of crap that makes it whatever. But the only consequences they face is hopefully every 3 to 5, 2 to 4 years, we can vote them out. Hopefully, if we remember and and that's about it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Again,
I think
that's, of course,
what's
saying
the crazy
hopefully
thing is,
our
like
elections
you said,
are not stolen.
we all don't like the way it is. But meanwhile, incumbents win like 95% of the elections. How the hell are we all unhappy about the way things are, but 95% of the incumbents win?
Right.
That's the disconnect. You say you're unhappy, but you vote for the same motherfuckers all the time.
I said it before the 2020 election. I said, listen, if Biden actually wins, I trust the group. I trust God. I trust the universe. I trust that if this is really, really what we want, all right, good luck. I won't fight it, because as much as I hate the dumb and did not vote for him in 2020, as much as I wanted Trump to win, as much as I don't, I knew that this was maybe a process we needed to go through in order to hit our bottom and realize, and for the white liberals especially, to realize, oh, this guy, maybe Trump was right the whole motherfucking time, right? So, but
they'll never say it though.
Right. Well, no, some of them are starting to, but we also need
true.
to provide, side note, we need to provide a place for them to do so. We can't, this is the other thing about the big tent. If other people are going to start waking up, which a lot of people have, we've been waking up for a long time, blah, blah, blah. It's a flippant way to say it, but we need to provide a way for them to come into the fold, right? Yes. Without going, you're stupid. Just like I would have hoped that if it was my turn and the tables were turned for me to come into the liberal fold, they wouldn't go fucking racist. We can't do that same thing that we are mad at them for doing to us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hello, conservatives. That's why welcoming Dave Rubin instead of checking the list and making sure, okay, yeah, you did that. Oh, but you went to a prostitute in 1992. Oh, but you adopted kids. Oh, but you're gay. Oh, but you're small-minded, small God, small pee-pee shit. Stop with that. Okay. Principles before personalities. Why am I going off on this rant, Carlos? I'm sorry.
No, that's why I had you on. That's what I've seen your rants, and I was like, I gotta have this guy on because I'm like a fellow Boricua that's not an uber liberal leftist.
You'd be surprised, man. New York is full of us. And by the way, I'm only media Boricua. I'm media Boricua, alemán y inglés.
Okay.
Un poco de negro. I don't even know how you.
I see you're working in your Spanish because I know you said in one of your videos that you don't speak too much Spanish.
No, pero estoy practicando mi español. Pero solo mi padre habla mucho español porque solo mi padre es puertorriqueño. Pero cada día un poco más.
Eso como tú lo haces. I don't.
I know. I got a lot of that.
I mean, I'm just not comfortable with it. It was the irony is my first language was Spanish. I actually grew up speaking Spanish, but when I got into elementary school, my mother and my parents always like, no, now you got to speak English. Now you got to speak English. So they always made me speak English. So it got to the point where I forgot how to talk Spanish and all I speak English.
Right.
So like my father will talk to me in Spanish and I'll speak to him in English.
Right. Yeah, that's how it is.
And no, you threw me off. I was gonna say something about.
Pero mi acento es muy bien. 1170.
So you originally from New York? You said you were in the Bay.
Yeah, I was born in Long Island. I was born in Long Island. I lived out in Long Island until I was 9, and that's when I moved out to the Bay Area. I only moved back to New York about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say why, but I'm like, the Bay Area is worse than New York.
Oh yeah. Well, also I'm a musician. I'm a musician and a singer, and a podcaster. And there's so much more opportunity in art here than there is in San Francisco.
Oh, that's surprising considering, like it's so close to Silicon Valley. You would think they'd have more.
No. Nerds don't care about art. They like the idea of art. They want to look like they care about art. Nerds don't care about anything except themselves and nerdy shit.
Oh, okay. Now it clicked to me what I was going to say about when you're talking about Puerto Ricans, you'd be surprised. And I was like, you notice how they stopped with the whole let's make Puerto Rico the 51st state? Remember how the Democrats...
I get a message. I get a message. I have a guy in Puerto Rico who sends me a little message every once in a while. Like he was in... maybe 7-8 months ago, he sent me a message like at a bar, like no lockdown, no mask, no none of that stuff, and I'm here, unvaccinated, can't go out, blah blah blah, in New York, and in Boricua they're having a blast. Puerto Ricans don't like Biden. No, when he got reelected, he told me a message. He sent me a message. He's like, "Ooh, a bunch of people are mad." That I know.
Like I said, they said he was gonna. They were saying, "Oh, Puerto Rico make it the 51st state." Because the Democrats automatically think that Puerto Ricans are going to give them 2 Democrats in the Senate. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, you're at best getting 50-50. You're getting you may get 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, because in Puerto Rico, they hate taxes.
Mhm.
They hate. I remember I rode on the tollway from I think it's from Ponce to is it to San Juan? I forgot it. I did the tollway and they're like, oh my God, can you believe it's like 25 cents to go on the tollway? They're like, this was like, 15 years ago. It was like,
Sure.
yeah, but it's like 25 cents to go on the tollway. And I'm like, you guys don't know what the hell we pay in the States. You guys
Mhm.
bitching about 25 cents when it, right now it's $16 to cross the GWB, the Holland
Right.
Tunnel, and the
Right. I
and the
think it's
Lincoln Tunnel.
25 to go from Staten Island, something like that. Yeah, it's
What, the Verrazano?
ridiculous. Yeah, I
That-
think it's 20. I think it's 19 or 25. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what I'm saying. The thing about also, and not just the taxes, but the thing about, that's why you see so many. There's a huge number of Hispanics don't like what's going on,
No.
right? Because they're waking up and we're smart motherfuckers, and also a lot of us are very Catholic. Okay,
Yes.
a lot of us are very God-centric. So as much as we want to go, oh, don't support, blah blah blah. Most of us are smart enough to realize, oh, this whole like trans equals, we realize that underneath a lot, not most, but well, no, I'd say most of the vocal trans, the subtext is treat women like shit. That's really what it is. Treat women. It's dudes who were not getting laid, okay, who found subconsciously, and because I believe that they do it subconsciously. I don't even think it's intentional. And if you're actually a dude who wants to be a girl, or you feel like you are a girl, be a girl, okay? But because I've had trans friends, shit, do it. If you're actually a girl and you feel like a guy, do it, right? But a lot of these motherfuckers, the really vocal ones, they're just dudes, unfuckable dudes who have mental disconnects, who have mental problems, okay? Who don't do the work, okay? And then when it comes down to it, they want to subconsciously, again, they want to get revenge. They want to get revenge. When they transition into a girl, most of the time, they still date girls, or, well, they don't, but they are still interested sexually in girls. So they're actually still straight, but they get not only a cultural fill up, they get power, they get emotional, like, they get all that stuff, and they get to swim against girls, beat girls in the face. They get to do all this stuff, and now they get to punish. They get to take seats away, take money away, take jobs away, take this, take that, because they hate women. Okay, Hispanics. Ask any dude, ask any like Mexican dude. Even if they hate their mom, mi mama is a santo, santa, that she's a saint. Oh yeah, it's respect for the fucking matriarch. Okay.
Yes.
So, well, unless they're coming up from Guatemala and from Mexico, and they're in those caravans, because the caravans love to rape women. Oh my God, they rape the hell out of people.
Yeah, but it goes to like your point about hating the women. That's how they get their revenge on whoever woman hurt them. Because remember, rape is about power. It's not necessarily about sex. It's about enjoying the power.
Right. But most Mexicans don't like that shit. And even most Hispanics here in America don't want illegal immigration.
No.
They immigrated here legally.
I lived in Texas for 6 years. I will tell you I was surprised, because coming here from New York, going down there, hearing, Hispanics, they don't want the illegal, they want illegal immigration. And you go down there and the Texans are like, no, we don't. It's like, no. And even like recent immigrants, like that's the funny thing, is like recent immigrants. My son's nurse took her 14 years to become a citizen. She votes Democrat, but that's the one issue. She goes, with the Democrats, I do not agree. She goes, illegals should not be able to become citizens, period. She goes, I'm not saying kick them out, but she goes, she used to say they can have a green card, but they shouldn't be able to become citizens. The minute you cross that border illegally, you forfeit your right to be able to become a citizen.
Right. But the lizards are smart. They know that's why there's a constant influx, and they move them with planes, and they, whatever. Yeah. Because they needs to be a constant influx, because as soon as the Democrats, like, they can only go, okay, we'll let you into the country, but you need to vote a certain way, right? You need to do what we want you to do. You need to take around. There was even video during the California election. the governor recall vote about. I saw some video of two Mexican hyenas with bags full of mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
The fuck are you doing? Taking ballots out of, like, that was some, they're that's illegals that I personally believe that they set up in order to do what they do. But once the illegal is off the hook, or they got already their kickback, now a few minutes in, a few months, 2 years, whatever, they realize, oh, wait a second, I don't like all this trans shit. Like, I like this God. I'm deep into God. Like, I don't like all this. I don't like whatever. They're going to change their mind. They're going to realize, oh, wait a second. No, I think I'm a conservative.
No, I agree. I think, like you said, that a lot of Hispanics are religious, family orientated, hard workers. How many, I remember growing up, my parents, we used to have, like, government cheese and all, all that stuff. But my parents didn't like to take the welfare. They would take the free food,
right,
or the cheaper food, but they didn't want to take the welfare. And it was just because the fact that we don't want the handouts. We want to work for our own shit. Right. We don't want people to, that's why I'm like, when AOC is talking about free this, free that, I'm like, what household did you grow up in?
Upper middle class ass bitch. I swear to God,
exactly.
Every single time. They don't know. And I have to head out soon, but I also, but this is the thing too. I think, again, the disconnect is not just, I personally believe that one of the things that helps people be more open-minded is when they meet more people. It's a universally agreed upon thing. If you want to open your mind, travel. And it's not because being in Belarus will suddenly change your mind. No, it's that they have food, they have gas, they have whatever, they have sex, they have this, whatever. The difference is you start realizing how alike and how different we are as people, right? And mostly how alike. And you start realizing, oh, they're humans too. The more time you spend in Belarus, the more you realize some people in Belarus are amazing and some people in Belarus are horrible. And some more time you spend in Mexico, some people in Mexico are great, and some people in Mexico are horrible. You realize how human you humanize the more people you know, right? It's the same thing that Milk said, or Sean Penn said in that movie. The more people who know in Milk, he said that they'll vote for us. They'll vote to not, they'll vote for the gay, whatever they'll vote towards that situation to the human rights, whatever, regardless. The more people they know who are gay, the more they'll humanize gays. So we need to come out, right? AOC is a disconnect because she grew up well, okay? Or I'm pretty sure she did. And if she didn't, the only people she knows around her who are Black, who are Hispanic, who are trans, who are feminist, blah, blah, blah. It's only a certain group of people. If you don't think any Hispanics are pieces of shit, it's because you don't know enough Hispanics. You are a privileged white, and I'm not saying privileged in that normal way, but be real. You are a privileged white motherfucker and you don't know enough. I spent time volunteering at prison in California for years. And I know some Mexican motherfuckers who I love with all my heart, who deserve to be in prison because they did some foul shit and they were illegals sometimes, right? So I'm not saying that means that most, I'm not saying whatever, but I'm saying my experience taught me, because of the people I realized, and I know that I realized, oh, this is complicated. Like, humanize people, and I pray that they get out and all that stuff. But I'm not saying it's the system. Like, no, they chose to shoot somebody. They chose to stab a motherfucker. They chose to sneak here. They chose because they're fucking humans, and humans are smart enough to do it. But if you are disconnected, if you're a liberal like AOC, you're disconnected from humanizing other motherfuckers. They don't have a choice. When a white person steals, why do you also assume that they have a choice? Because you're a racist piece of shit, because you don't know enough motherfuckers. You sheltered douchebag. If she even believes what she's saying, by the way.
I go, to piggyback off that, I go, my hope, how I think this all started, and this is, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say this, was when we started giving out participation trophies.
Right.
I blame that, because you got entitled people now who've grown up their whole lives. like you said about feelings. Oh, we can't hurt their feelings, so they have to get a trophy because even though they were in last place, they get a trophy, even though you didn't earn it. No, earn your shit. And that's the problem. I go, we can't, feelings protect you in the sense that if you hurt, you don't do it again. You make a mistake, it hurts. You don't do that same mistake again. But if you shelter people to the point where, they don't want to compete, they don't want to earn their stuff, then where we're going as a society.
Right. And I'll leave you with this. In that same vein, I think one of the ways, the main way that we fix the macro is to fix the micro. We need to be more responsible for our shit. You can't be all mad at unspiritual, selfish behavior that you see out there if you're not meditating, if you're not praying, if you're not taking care of are you cleaning your house? Are you taking care of your relationships? Are you saying sorry when you need to? Are you trying to be nice to you? Are you trying to teach your kid? You need to fix the micro, the small. Your cul-de-sac of responsibility needs to be not crystal clear before you whatever, but are you working on yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of your family? If you're worried about participation trophies, okay. Are you teaching your kids, you know what I'm saying, to live responsibly, to live without a handout, to live without, you know what I mean? We need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And then, vote and talk shit and whatever. But I'm saying part of the thing I always look to is, I think in this game, in this non-liberal anti-lizard game, it gets too easy to get lost in the weeds and think, and start to spin off into paranoia land. You know what I mean? Oh, there are fucking pedophiles and this and that. Like, okay, all right, yeah.
Like the Q stuff. I never followed that Q stuff because it was just like, woo.
Yeah, it gets. But hey, and if you want to believe that, rock and roll, and if you want, I'm open to it. I don't think there are no pedophiles in power. That's insane, right?
Yeah,
but because look at their behavior. But
look, the pedophile who gave the person who gave the pedophiles to the pedophiles is in jail, and none of the pedophiles who did the peddling, who did the diddling, are in jail.
Right. But
go ahead.
But I bring that up. No, yeah, totally right. But I bring that up to say, in the interim, while you're doing your digging, while you're doing your research, while you're doing your vocaling, while you're doing your gun buying, while you're doing that, are you taking care of yourself? Because if you're spinning off into paranoia land, that's what they like you to do. They like you to be scared and confused and overwhelmed. Make sure. How do you fix being scared and confused and overwhelmed? Ain't got shit to do with that. What's out here? It doesn't. Fear is an inside job. Fear is an inside job. How you fix fear has nothing to do with your outside circumstances. Do you know how many people in the Holocaust didn't kill themselves? Do you know how many people in Berkeley or in Berkeley in nice upper middle class neighborhoods kill themselves? It has nothing to do with not nothing, but it has very little to do with the outside circumstances internally. So I honestly, I do my best to try to take a day off of social media every once in a while, because it's good for me. But not because I don't want to be, I want to be uninformed, but because I've seen people who don't take care of themselves while they're waking up and trying to wake other motherfuckers up and fighting the lizards, spin off into paranoia land, spin off into insanity, be mad at all this, it's like a dude saying, nobody in this city is every girl's stuck up. That's why I'm not getting laid. I see stuck up women everywhere, and I see dudes who aren't taking care of themselves everywhere. Responsibility lies with us. While we're waking up, while we're waking other motherfuckers up, while we're fighting those lizards, take care of yourself. There you go.
Well, that's a great way to end it. I like. Well, thank you, Peter, for coming on. I'm going to put your stuff. I'm going to put your stuff on in the description so people can find you. I'll put your link tree so people could see all your stuff. Your music, funny and catchy with the music. Like I said, I played the intro, but like I said, thank you for coming. I'm the Right Rican. You can follow me here. I post on YouTube and Rumble, and you can interact with me on social media. I'll put that up in my description too. And like I said, that's it. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right.